Yo, you know what time it is. It's your boy Trevor David Jones back up at it. And I love these reviews. They're some of the biggest, the best, the most in-depth movie reviews. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. As the title says, a strong start to 2023. So let's jump right in with the positives. The positives. Paul Rudd. One of the biggest positives of the whole film. He's hilarious. He's a comedian. If you look at my video, top 10 favorite actors, he's on the list of my top 10 favorite actors, period. I mean, he is hilarious. So it's no surprise I would like him in this film, and I liked him a lot. From the opening scenes, he's walking, smiling, the little jokes. He's just a great presence, in the film. And he's the right pick for Ant-Man. It definitely belongs here. One of the best parts of the entire film. There are other great parts, but he's one of the best. The effects. So as they get into the plot a little bit, they show the quantum realm machine. Cassie whipped it up. Bless you. Then when they got sucked down into the quantum realm, it just looked amazing. Like Ant-Man shrinking, the suit. It looked great. I didn't see it in 3D. So I saw the classic version. I always watch movies flat. And it looked amazing. This is one of the few movies I've seen where I can imagine in 3D. It would have looked even better. I can see how it would have had some appeal. But regardless, the movie just itself, this is Marvel. Their VFX staff is, they're churning it out. It looked great. So this is skipping forward quite a bit into the film, but necessarily, because we're going to get into the middle part later, the emergence of Jonathan Majors, aka Kang the Conqueror. Well, micro chills. Microverse. Just dope. We're going to get more to Jonathan Majors in a second, but from the second he stepped on film, onto the screen, any scene he was in was just, had the gravitas, the weight. It was just dope. No missed notes. He just gets it. Aside from everything else is the look of Kang, the swollenness. We'll get to that more in a second too. He's a talented actor, just on his own. It was amazing. Again, Marvel, they be, what's her, I'm gonna say Kathleen Kennedy. That's Star Wars. But the casting director for Marvel, I know who she is. They're in there cooking up the notes. They know who to pick. So Jonathan Majors, another strong pick, another perfect, the P word, highly appropriate pick for this role. From the moment he stepped on screen till the end of the movie, any scene he was in was fantastic, just amazing. And speaking of scenes he's in, one of the best scenes of the movie was with him, Scott, and Cassie in the little jail scene. Whew. Chills. That scene was almost picked from a different film. It was just too good. It was just, man. It turned it into a little micro horror movie real quick. That was some real acting in that scene. He yoked up Scott with the telekinesis. So you want to play, huh? You're going to get your daughter, turned her side. Man, nah. Yeah, man, it was just, that scene was amazing. His acting, you felt nervous. And he brought this calm disposition to Kang where he's like, I'll kill you at any second. Any second. I don't care. I'll do it. But he also seemed very, emotionally detached, but also kind of cool. Well, almost any good villain is cool. He just seemed real laid back for someone who was on the edge of he would vaporize you at any given instant. But he also seemed kind of chill. Crazy. Just great acting. And, that scene was, man. Yeah, one of the best scenes of the film. Scary, but it was so good. Of course, Paul Rudd held it down, and the daughter, she sent it in too. It was dope. But yeah, the whole trio in there, and of course Kang, Jonathan Majors, just sick. So going on to what was the core part of the film, the core scene when Scott shrinks down into the core to go, to go shrink it back down. That was the crux. That was the main scene of the film, that whole scene. So Scott, goes down there, finds the core, and his other selves, his probability field selves, start overcoming him. But then he overcomes himself. It's all spiritual. It's a growth message put into that. And it was great. That was the main scene of the film. And Scott got it done. The effects of that were great when he's shrinking down and, I like that they put a heist element back into the film because I really don't think they had to, per se. You know, it would have been fine if he's just a hero and doing his thing, and you know they had the core and however they went about getting it. But they brought it back to the roots of him being like a thief. You know, that heist element. So that was cool. They managed in the runtime to put that in there. It was great. Then Hope, after he overcomes himself, she comes down there. She didn't really have any problems. She was like, "Oh, these are just probability cells." It didn't bother her at all. So take that for what it's worth. But they teamed up and you know, ended up shrinking down the core. It was good. That was, like I said, that was the main scene of the film. The effects were strong. It was very uplifting. Yeah. And it showed Scott, he is an Avenger. He's one of the main heroes in the Marvel Universe. He's dependable. He's highly capable. He's strong. You know, he can and he will get it done. And that scene showed it. So yeah, the main scene of the film, the core shrinking heist, you know, overcoming himself part of the film, was a great scene. Yeah, that was the best scene of the film. That was the best scene of the film. Okay, so skipping forward a little bit. Scott escapes. Kang kind of reneges on his deal a little bit. He's like, you know, I'm not going to harm your daughter. Had her in prison anyway. For all intents and purposes, probably about to kill her. So they, you know, unsuccessfully try and go assault Kang. But who shows up? Who shows up? Hank Pym. The original Hank Pym. With the Ant Army. Michael Douglas, man. Holding it down. Another great part of the film. But, I mean, I could make a whole nother video about Marvel putting in like the A and the S list actors into these parts. It's like an all-star, it's like a basketball team. If you put all the best players together, you're going to get this even like, it's a super team. It's even like Olympic teams. You know what's up. So you got Michael Douglas in here, you know, A S list actor, just, man. So his acting ability, but plus just the part of Hank Pym. When he showed up with those ants behind him with the helmets on, their technology lived out 1,000 years in one day. And he was ready to basically just go, you know, class Kang. Just the camera, the way he had it set up, the angle, like just the way it was presented. In that moment, I understood all over again, maybe for the first time. Hank Pym is the Ant-Man. Take it back to the first film. He's like, Scott, you can be my Ant-Man, blah, blah, blah. Hank Pym is the Ant-Man. Go watch that scene again. The way they framed it, you'll see. He is Ant-Man. And it was just great. He's like hyper powerful. Extremely. He invented the Pym particles. He did all this. But yeah, he shows up with his ant army. I was like, oh, I get it. Hank Pym is the Ant-Man. And there's just certain things that, you know, they kind of couldn't do because the comic book readers, we know Hank's history in the comics. So there's some sketchy stuff we don't need to get into right now. But it might just been a too over the top, too across the bar for movies. And plus, they wanted to make it like, you know, more youthful. So Hank Pym is, you know, he's in the same generation. He's a founding Avenger with Tony Stark and all them. But the way the movie plays out, hold on a second. Drink coffee, classic beverage. The way the movie plays out, they put Hank Pym in the same generation as Tony's father, as Howard Stark. But in the comics, he's the same generation as Tony and them. And Scott is the next generation down. He's not like a kid, per se, but he's younger than Tony and all them. But in the movies, you know, Tony, Scott, they're equal. But yeah, so they put Hank in the previous generation, which is fine. Like I said, they decided to go with Scott, who is an extremely capable character. But yeah, Hank Pym, don't get it twisted. He is the Ant-Man. He has the power of the ants. You know what I'm saying? So... and that's what did it. That's what did it. Hank shows up with his cavalcade of ants who have technology, you know, they've advanced, maybe even past like current humans. Crazy stuff. And they just overcome Kang. It's the power of the ants. So they thought they killed him. They got their little portal booted up. They're going back to the main universe. But Kang, like any true villain, he has like one shred of life back in him. And they get to the final fight between him and Scott. Another one of the best parts of the film. It was very visceral. Like, and shout out, y'all know I'm a fan of anybody getting swole, being swole. They have my man Jonathan Majors in the gym. But he did that men's health thing. So we know that like he prepped for this role for Creed 3 as well. Mans was yoked up when his suit was ripped off and they showed like I said, Dick, Mans was swole. That was cool. I'm a fan of anyone getting and or being swole. Great part of the film. Mans was yoked up. But yeah, they showed that Kang also has some like light degree of super strength. His suit was partially damaged. So I don't know if it was derived from his suit or from his DNA. Maybe he's done something to himself. Maybe that's just his natural state. But like when he lifted his foot up and like crushed Ant-Man's helmet, at that moment I was like, oh, he got a little super strength. Like he can do something. So, and the fight played out, you know, Ant-Man Scott would hit him, but each time Jonathan Majors Kang hit him or hit anything, it had this extra reverberation effect. It was just, they showed that he has some super strength. That was cool. Why do we watch these things? You know, superhero movies, read comic books, anime as well. They, as RDC World would say, they boxing because they're squabbing. The fights are always great. This fight was great. They showed Kang's natural, presumably, strength, maybe derived somewhat from his suit. But that was a great scene as well. So that rounds it up for the positives. Great film, great film. Now onto the room for improvement. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I do My Hero Academia every week. That's, you know, the best anime running. It's not done yet, so I can't. It'll probably end up being one of the best anime of all time. But each and every week, not only do I rate it like highly in excess of the scale, it also I rarely have any. The past 4 or 5 episodes, I haven't had any room for improvement. Zero, none. So think about that. So you're thinking, man, Trevor's getting soft. Like he can't see the room for improvement anymore. No, I can. But My Hero is just that good. For this film, I got some room for improvement. And with films, they're so long, bless you again, and have so many moving parts that to have zero room for improvement is almost inconceivable. Maybe it's possible, but you know, you're gonna find something. There's so many moving parts. So let's get into it. The village people. So in the positive, I kind of skipped the section between when they got into the quantum realm and when Jonathan Majors emerged, because it's a pretty big gap. They met all these different people, these civilizations down in the quantum realm and the microverse. And yeah, man, it was padding. And I hate to say that. I know that Ant-Man doesn't have like the biggest cast as of yet. So the filmmakers had to do something between him getting down into, you know, the quantum realm, finding Jonathan Majors, and all these events happening. I mean, the movie has a 2 hour and 4 minute runtime. That's minus the credits. So take out like 20 minutes. So you're talking like, you know, an hour and 44 minutes of film. Like, what if they had taken all that stuff out? That's like an hour. Think about that. That's like an hour for the whole plot versus Black Panther, which was almost 3 hours long, and not even a single thing could have been taken out, you know, to make that movie have its integrity. It was a legitimate dang near 3 hour film. Every part was necessary. You know what I'm saying? And in this film, if they had just stuck to maybe the necessary parts, quote unquote, getting down there, finding Kang and blah, 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 that movie might have been like an hour long. So I get it. They had to do something. But yeah, the village people, and it created a plot. It gave them like an army at the end and so on and so forth. It gave life to the microverse. But, you know, ultimately it was just padding. A lot of conversation, a lot of talking. So it's a room for improvement. But it's like, what else could they have done? Not quite sure, because they had to make a full film and round out the Ant-Man cast some. But no, that whole little village people section, that whole, almost like, 40 minutes, something like that, padding. So that's a room for improvement. We got the cast there. Okay. Janet not talking. Like, bizarre. It was bizarre. At first, it was like, okay, maybe she was traumatized from the quantum realm. But then they get down there and she's still like omitting blatant details in their conversations. Like just not saying, Janet, just say it. Who is it? What's his name? Like, it was weird. So maybe that was to extend the runtime. But Janet just not talking, like not even about important things, which all this was important. Like, why are you talking? Why are you being this way? Yeah, a room for improvement. Just say, you know, I saw such and such down there, blah, blah, blah. It was a little intense. And going right into that is the pronoun game. You know, her not talking directly turned into a pronoun game. Him, he's here. Oh, he, him. Kang. Just say it. Just say it. We get it. No pronoun game. And along those lines, Janet going down into the microverse and finding all those things, or like all those things having happened, that's a retcon for sure. And a retcon isn't always room for improvement. It's not always a bad thing. The original Infinity Stones were a retcon. You could tell that they, you know, took different objects and made them that way, kind of after the fact. Retcons aren't always bad, but I'm just saying, all that stuff happening down there, that's a retcon. It's cool, but just got to bring it up. Okay, now on to, this is a new section I'm bringing in. I'm bringing in this new section for films, especially. Plot holes. Plot holes. This movie actually doesn't have any plot holes. But I'm going to bring them up because they're like in-game. obviously I love Marvel, but Endgame has some, whew, yeah. You could drive freaking Ronan the Accuser's ship through those plot holes. But yeah. This movie didn't have any. It didn't have any, which is strong. That's what you want to see. The only potential plot hole was that the quantum portal, when they go down into the microverse, can now bring them back at the exact time that they left, like where they should actually be. That was one of the biggest issues with the quantum realm, and also what led, one of the biggest strengths of it, what led to Thanos' defeat. You can be down there for like 5 minutes and like a year. Any amount of time can have passed in the real universe. It's just a different amount of time, and it's gonna be a lot longer in our universe. So not only that, so they seem to fix that problem, which is, take that for what you will. But Cassie's the one who did it. Cassie's a genius now? Like, who's her mom? So Cassie went from just being a character like Scott's daughter to, she's like, yeah, she made the portal. Like, my voice is, because it was like, wait, it's okay. That puts her like up there with like Tony Stark and them, with Shuri. But like, when did this happen? So, yeah, Cassie's a genius. It's not a plot hole. It's not a plot hole, but it's just like, come on, y'all. They put that in there. And last but not least, also not a plot hole, but worth mentioning, Janet's powers. So they just threw that by the wayside. So when she went down to the microverse initially, she was down there for so long, she got infused with all that energy. And it was in the post credits of maybe it was Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man 2. Yeah, they showed that she had like some powers, some healing abilities. But she seems to not have those powers anymore. It's fine. Maybe they don't want them. They don't want Janet to have powers. Just worth mentioning. Okay, that's the end of the plot holes. All right, so now on to another one of my favorite sections for movies, or the end of any series. Drink coffee again. The post-credits. Post-credits are part and parcel to the existence of Marvel. So, I mean, we got to get into this. The post-credits one, all the Kangs. So they show all the Kangs. There's like an Egyptian version, like a futuristic, like a robot version. And they said that the mortals are, starting to touch the microverse. Or mortals, I just say like, for the Earthlings from our universe. They're starting to touch the multiverse. So now it's time for them to get involved. It was great. I mean, they had the 3 Kangs that were like leading them, and then like a Coliseum. And then some Kangs battling down on the arena floor. But a Coliseum full of Kangs. So like multiple thousands, UT Texas Stadium, 100,000 maybe. Who knows? But like, yeah, man, the heroes have a problem. It's a problem. This is, if all these Kangs are at the heightened intelligence level that he is, and strength and ruthlessness and just general ability, if they all have a suit and a ship, whatever their existence is, the heroes have a real problem. He already said in the movie how many Avengers he's killed. Like, he's like, y'all are nothing to me. And I mean, I kind of believe it. Like, who can fight this dude? Because he has the ability, the intelligence, but also the attitude. He has the emotional disposition. Like I said earlier, he's just ready to fry someone at any given moment. He's ready. So it's like, can you fight someone like that? Yeah. But the reason I like this is because, you don't like movies or shows where you know the ending, where you know what's going to happen. And this is definitely, it's one of those things. Given what we know about Kang and what we know about the heroes, the Avengers, even, my particular knowledge of Marvel heroes, so on and so forth, and what we know about these movies, I can't think of a way, using who they've introduced at this exact moment and what they've introduced as far as like technology and whatever, to defeat Kang. I can't think of it right now. Thor, he's too silly. No, I'm kidding. That was up there a little shade. Nah, Thor's great. But no, Thor, I don't know. Thor, man, he's powerful. Especially, with the Odin Force. Odin's passed on. Thor has the full Thor Force. But Kang can like travel through time. He has telekinesis. Even Thor, I don't know, man. And then there's multiple, potentially, if he's tapped into the multiverse, an infinite amount of Kangs. They showed maybe 100,000, but he's probably has more. They're going to have to like find the core of him, something. But as far as how they're actually going to do it, I can't think of exactly how they're going to defeat him right now, which makes me happy. You don't want to know exactly how it's going to end during it. So they did a good job of showing how dangerous Kang is, the threat level he proposes. And, they've set up a good, phase 5, because you don't know all the answers right at the start. That's good. So yeah, but I mean, Adam Warlock is coming out here in Guardians 3. They're gonna need Adam Warlock. I hear the Fantastic Four, that movie's being made. They're gonna need Reed Richards. They're gonna need a lot. So I don't know. It's kind of building some suspense. Like, how are they gonna defeat Kang? I genuinely at this exact moment, I'm not quite sure. So that's a good thing. It's what we want. Now for the second post credits, we go back to Loki. So that show is still, it's still in full swing. I think season 2 comes out this year. He's sitting with Owen Wilson, and they're like, and Owen was like, who, this guy? They're like an old 1800s type, like, vaudeville, like, stage show. And, almost like, he didn't look too threatening. Loki looking straight shook. He's like, yo, he is. Like, looking shook, like, nah, man, this ain't the dude for the play. Like, we got an issue. So they show that Loki is still very much in the continuity. You got Owen Wilson. Great. Overall, the post-credits were good. They were solid. Nothing wrong. Not too silly. Didn't throw you off too much. Some good post-credits. Okay. So now, for one of my favorite parts of any film or doing these films, the best actor. The best actor. Usually it's the lead actor because they have the most screen time and, they're given the most to do. So you just get to see them the most. And obviously, the lead actor is going to have an amount of talent, amount of skill, so they got something to show. It's usually the lead actor, but not always. Thor Ragnarok, Thor Love and Thunder, it was Christian Bale. Whew, man. It just depends. Black Panther, it was Shuri, so there you go. In this particular film, the best actor is not the lead actor, Jonathan Majors. Come on, man. Come on. He shut it down. Jonathan Majors is one of those actors. It's like, see, I gotta put the script down. He's one of those actors like you don't know that you liked him that much until you see him. You're like, oh, this dude's just legit. He's on another level. I've read some stuff like people have been like into his work for a while. The first thing I saw with Jonathan Majors was freaking Loki. Not the post credits, the end. When they show up at Doomstar. That was actually Dr. Doom's castle. Fun fact. So yeah, they find Kang sitting right there. And I was like, oh man, this dude's pretty good. He played like kind of over the top silly role, but it was, it was good. He definitely had that tone of like menacing, of threateningness. But that was the first time I'd seen Jonathan Majors. Obviously not the first thing he's ever been in. So, they show he's going to be Kang. I remember he was at the Marvel reveal, already looking swole on stage. You keep going forward, and now we're at Ant-Man, the Wasp, Quantumania. Insane. Yeah, man. I had to revise my list, but like, Jonathan Majors might be in my top like 20 best actors. Top 10, I mean, I got to see more. I got people like freaking like Jack Black and, freaking Keanu Reeves in my top 10. So I have to see more, but Jonathan Majors, he probably make my top 20 today, just after seeing this film. Why? Because he's just that good. He's just that good. You can tell he's one of those guys who just gets it. As far as like art, presentation, what have you. He just gets it. Talent, skilled. The emotional expression, just like the emotions. And also you can sense his intellect. Obviously he's a very intelligent guy because the way he speaks, very precise. You can tell there's just a lot going on up there. So I was blown away. And obviously in the last scene, yoked up. I'm a fan of anyone getting swole, being swole. It was all there. He legitimately added something to that film. Like, he wasn't just put in there like, oh, we need a villain, just to look evil for, X amount of minutes. No, he added something to that film. A component, all on his own. You got Paul Rudd, obviously dope. It's Paul Rudd. He's on my top 10 list of actors. Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas. Come on, man. Michelle Pfeiffer is in the movie. Yeah, man, they're all good. But Jonathan Majors, it's like, who else could have played this? He put something in the film. His own juice, his own gas. Great part of the film. And he reminds me of Christian Bale, again, in Thor Love and Thunder, of an actor who was almost like channeling something different, like a different film maybe, or like his acting is just, it was more menacing than like the tone of maybe the rest of the film. It was good. And it was almost in another, it was coming at it from another dimension. So yeah, man. Best actor in this film, Jonathan Majors. Second best actor, just in case you wanted to know, Paul Rudd. I mean, come on. He held it down as Ant-Man, Scott Lang. Hilarious. Plus, Paul Rudd has the skills too. He's got the drama, he has the ability. But for this particular film, the best actor, Jonathan Majors. Now, on to the moment you've all been waiting for. Or maybe you're waiting for best actor. That's one of my favorite parts of these reviews as well. The rating. Marvel started off 2023 with this movie on purpose. So, they wanted a good tone. And what does it get? This movie gets 8. 8 multiversal cores out of 10. It was a great film. It was a great film. Yeah, man. I mean, it had it all in there. Kang, the fights, the effects, the emotional weight. Things that maybe kind of held it back were like the amount of padding. And yeah, like I said, it was 2 hour, 4 minute runtime. If you take out all that like Village People stuff and the credits, you're talking about a movie that's like an hour long, hour and 10, 15 minutes long. That's crazy. They had to put the stuff in there though. So yeah, but as far as what it was, like what the movie actually was, yeah, it was great. It was great. The fights were great. It was all there. A solid 8 out of 10. And like with any Ant-Man film, and I've mentioned this in some of my other videos, they choose the Ant-Man films to introduce like key elements or like huge elements that, influence the rest of the MCU. The quantum realm, the microverse in and of itself. Pym particles just on their own. These elements turn out to be pivotal for the rest of the MCU. And they did the same thing here. They introduced Kang in an Ant-Man movie. Could have introduced him anywhere. You know what I'm saying? But he's in the Ant-Man movie. Now he's the main villain for the phase going forward. Above Namor. But Namor's a good guy now. All my reviews are spoiler reviews. Don't worry about that. Yeah. So, I mean, it had it all in there. I was impressed. I enjoyed myself the entire time. It looked great. Had the action. Jonathan Majors held it down to the utmost. Paul Rudd, hilarious. Michael Douglas, great part of the film. No, it was all there. And yeah, a solid 8 out of 10. And again, like the title says, a strong way to start out 2023. And that's it. That's all I got for y'all. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. I've been waiting for this because a lot of us have just been waiting for, the next phase of Marvel films. Phase 4, people said it had its issues. It was all right. It was cool. There are certain shows we ain't got to bring up, but overall, it was good. So, but people were looking forward to Phase 5, and we're here. So, yes, go watch my Black Panther Wakanda Forever review. That was the last movie of Phase 4, correct? So go check that out. One of my favorite videos I've done since I started this channel. Just super dope. My Hero Academia. I always got y'all on that. So don't ever get it twisted. Don't ever get it twisted. Midoriya, All Might, One for All. I got you. Watch my last review of that. It's my hero. What do I got to say? It's great. TDJ Recommendations, Google Fi. I'm not sponsored by any of these. It's just things that I like that I think are really great that you'll enjoy as well. It's the best cell phone service in my opinion. Google Fi, sign up. Dislike, a cell phone game, a mobile game. It's a mobile game. How good it can be. It's a great game. It's got amazing graphics. The gameplay is really dope. It's a good game. So my TDJ Recommendations, in fact, download it. It's good. Not sponsored. Just get it. And finally, Guardians. That's the next film of the of Phase 5 of the Marvel releases. So I got you on that. That comes out in May? Yeah, be ready for that. It's got Adam Warlock in it. Now we're getting to like characters who are OP on top of OP, and I like that. Yeah, I mean, the last like most powerful character we knew was Thanos, but I mean, they still got legitimately powerful characters in there like the Hulk, Bruce Banner, the Hulk. Come on, bro. Come on now. He's alive and doing stuff. So as long as the Hulk can move, yeah, there's some powerhouses out there. Thor has. Did he get upgraded in Love and Thunder? They showed he can make like Thor shadow clones. That was cool. But now we're starting to get into characters that like I would just say legitimately just straight up surpass Thanos. They're just stronger than him. Just period. Maybe even smarter. And that's saying a lot. You got Kang the Conqueror, a person who regularly embarrasses the Avenger. Look at the comics. Variant Comics just did a good video. He treats Thor like he's a child. Thor can't do anything to Kang. Thor can't do anything to Kang. Did I just say that? Throws his hammer, he just deflects it. He's like, get that out of my face. Okay. Thor. So yeah, Kang the Conqueror, Adam Warlock. What y'all see Guardians? Comic book readers know. Adam Warlock is just stronger than Thanos, period. He's just stronger than it. So you got another character out there who, that's good. That's what you want to see. We're not stuck at like Thanos and like, who was the best ever was. Thanos was strong, don't get it twisted, and highly intelligent. But now we're getting into characters who are just stronger. Kang the Conqueror, Adam Warlock. This is tight. It's good. This is what you want to see. So I got y'all on Guardians here in a few months. I think it's like 2 months. It's March already. Almost March at the time of recording this. Man, 2023. Cray. So yeah, I got y'all on that. Secret Invasion's coming out at some point, so I got you on that too. Don't worry, it's all in there. I got you. And that's it. As I always say, because I genuinely mean it. No, like, not even playing. Stay up. You never, ever want to be this way in life. Stay up. Always this direction. And that's it. Bless you for the 4th time. Until I see y'all in the next one, which will be soon. I got some good stuff planned for y'all. Everyone says that, but yeah, I got some good stuff planned for y'all. Peace.